Hello. I'd like to share with you a story, only because it is interesting and enigmatic. I don't know what it all means exactly, but this story has been a part of my consciousness for over a decade. It is wonderful, unusual, and I feel it is worth sharing. It is a mystery. The backdrop of this story is that I am a Christian, and the story itself is all about how I came to like the woman in the picture. Whether or not the story is of God, as they say, or of the powers that be, for those of you who don't believe in God, is for the viewer to decide. I am single. I have been single for the past 18 years. Back in high school, I dated once or twice, but I would never say that I was in love or in anything really serious. The closest I would say that I came to actually being in love, quote unquote, during my teenage years was after I had watched the movie She's Having a Baby. The one having the baby, actress Elizabeth McGovern, is the one here on the right. I wouldn't say that I loved Elizabeth McGovern. It's the wrong word. I guess I just admired her. Point in fact, I didn't watch any of her other movies or join her fan club or anything like that. But what I will say is that, bar none, she was my favorite actress. Otherwise, I can't any time in all my life ever say that I really, genuinely, truly loved anyone. Until, that is, I finally found out who the mystery woman was. In the mid-1990s, I was a student at a large university. There are many very attractive women at this university, and I am not that unattractive a guy, actually. Granted, I've always been someone on the quiet and shy side. Excepting first semester of my freshman year, I did not date a single time all throughout college. I didn't hook up, nothing. In fact, there was not a single woman all during the course of that time that I even wished I could have dated or hooked up with. No one stood out to the point where I could say, she's the one, or I'd like to get to know her better. It was in 1995 that I began to get religious. Oftentimes, at school, instead of, for example, concentrating on my engineering studies or hanging out on the weekends, I would be reading the Bible, either that or books by Reverend Andrew Murray, who was my favorite author, Reverend William Law, Charles Spurgeon, D.L. Moody. The women I admired most in the 1990s were not women like Julia Roberts or Demi Moore, but Jean Guyon, Hannah Whitall Smith, St. Catherine of Siena, St. Teresa of Avila. This pattern of my not dating, not even thinking about dating, would continue on into the 2000s. Granted, things would change somewhat in the early 2000s, for it was at this time that I began to have these very vivid and strange dreams. It all started in November of 1999, at which time I had a dream in which I saw a piece of paper. On the piece of paper were written the words, "I love you so much. I love you so much it hurts." Very strange dream, and it certainly got my attention. I didn't know who it was from, this message. I tried guessing. Maybe this message was from some old girlfriend of mine, my subconscious kind of regurgitating an old thought. Or maybe it was someone I should meet up with in the future. Some quote-unquote mystery woman had sent me this message. Now, just for the record, this so-called mystery woman would prove herself to be the woman in the picture, as suggested by the title of this video series. However, I did not know her as such just yet. At this point, I knew her only as a mystery woman. Now, other dreams over the course of the next few years would prove similar. In these dreams, a mystery woman and I would be together. In one of these dreams, for example, I was sitting with an indistinct mystery woman at a table at a restaurant, and she said to me, "We should get together sometime and talk about how strong a relationship we have." The mystery woman was some kind of future girlfriend/wife and was apparently a person of great importance. We both were, apparently, in my dreams, important people. We were doing something important together. In one dream, for example, we could be seen posing together on the cover of Newsweek. In other dreams, I was helping the mystery woman out of difficult situations. Another standout dream I had was in 2002. In this dream, I saw, as it were, a poster board on which had been pasted numerous photos of women in various dress, a kind of collage. None of the photos, however, none of these women, really caught my attention or my fancy. I had basically zero emotional response to these photos. I remember in particular one picture of a woman in a softball uniform in the lower right-hand corner of the collage. The woman looked rather not unlike an ex-girlfriend of mine from high school, actually, who had in fact played softball. Again, zero emotional response to this photo. But then, in the upper left-hand corner of the collage, I spotted a woman in a long white dress with yellow flowers. The dress was floor-length, long sleeve, high neck. Not the kind of dress you would see every day. Rather retro, in fact. I found myself yearning for this woman, whose face, I noticed, was blurred. In Christian spirituality, this type of yearning is what is known as an unction. An unction is a type of yearning which more intense than hunger for food or thirst for water could ever be. It is on the level of wanting to explode. The mystery woman. Coincidentally, it was about this time also that a woman from my past, this very same, in fact, ex-girlfriend from high school, i.e., the one in my dream in the softball uniform whom I had zero emotional response to, I'll call her Leah, would write me a letter as if out of the blue, expressing interest in me. Leah so much as invited me to come stay with her, live with her if you read into the context of the letter itself, at her home in Colorado. She asked me to keep in touch and with an appeal of, please. Now there is much to be said about this matter, as it plays heavily into the latter events of this story, which is how I came to like the woman in the picture. Indeed, Leah and I had made a kind of pact, or agreement, the day after we had ended our dating relationship freshman year in college. What Leah and I had in essence agreed was that we would wait for one another until that day that I, or her, or more likely us both, were changed. For myself, this would probably have meant that I had found the life of entire sanctification, something which I had shared all about with Leah. I told her that if ever I got filled with the Holy Spirit, baptized with fire as it were for you Pentecostals out there, I would be a changed man. And Leah all fixed up, in the sense perhaps that she would no longer have her emotional issues. Anyway, so Leah wrote me this long, happy letter around 2000, and with message, which seemed very much to point back to that agreement we had made years earlier after we broke up. I wondered if Leah might be the mystery woman of my dreams. I really didn't think it was her, and yet here Leah was expressing interest in me meanwhile I was having all these dreams about the mystery woman. And also, meanwhile, there was no one else. Leah wrote me again in the summer of 2001. She wrote, I haven't seen anything happen yet. Translation, Leah was hoping that I would get it in gear, i.e., get myself sanctified, and so that we could get back together again. But she hadn't seen anything happen yet. Leah passed along another message in 2002. Here she stated her hope that we would be reunited, quote, real soon, unquote. Leah stated that her silence, at times, in response to my more recent books which I had mailed her on the subject of Christian sanctity and courtship, was because of, quote, love, unquote. Love. I knew what this meant, and I was both flattered and impressed. Leah, like myself it would have seemed, wanted to focus on first things first, which was God and our spiritual walk. As soon as we had arrived, spiritually, and in other ways too, we could be together. Maybe Leah then was the mystery woman. In response to Leah's continued interest and faithfulness to that compact we had made way back freshman year in college, I mailed Leah a vow in January 2001. In this vow, I asked Leah if she might want to continue to wait for me until I was, in essence, changed. That is, until I had found the life of entire sanctification. I so much at the time saved and scanned this vow into my computer. Here's the vow. Notice when I write, I can't imagine you share this sentiment. This was my own bad attempt at trying to be humble. Of course I believe that Leah shared this sentiment, or else I wouldn't have sent her the vow in the first place. I signed the vow a friend. However, my name had been on the envelope. Ironic thing was that I wasn't even all that much interested in Leah. I certainly did not love Leah, not in high school, not in any other time either. Leah was really not my type. I had only dated Leah back in high school because she had asked me out. I certainly did not love Leah. And yet, I had given my word to Leah back in 1993, after our breakup, that if ever I got myself sanctified and my act together, I would keep her in mind. A promise, of course, is a promise. This vow I then afterward made to Leah in 2001, made solely as a matter of duty, and which did not represent my true feelings, and which had been in response to that original compact of 1993, would prove over the years to be a curse unto me, for Leah would not be the mystery woman. Let us then talk about the mystery woman, the real mystery woman.